Okay, in this video, we're going to show you the Avaya 9620C, which stands for color, voice over IP telephone. This telephone is designed to be used either in an office environment that is set up for voice over IP, or for remote users that work from home that want to plug this phone in just to their internet connection at their house or remote office. So I'm going to do a overview of the phone's features, and then we'll actually get into actually executing some of those features. So first off, I'm going to point out the main button on the telephone is the one to the right of this circle pad right here, and that one should be labeled phone. When I hit phone, it always takes me back to, if you will, my home screen. And my home screen kind of lets me know what's going on, and I'll cover the home screen when we zoom in here a little bit closer. Just to the left of this circle pad is messages, and if you notice, this is actually my phone right now. It's lit up red, which means I do have voice messages that I need to check, as well as this light up here. And this is actually designed so I can see that light. Make sure this is still in view. Bring it up a little bit higher. I could still see that light in the top left-hand corner there if I'm walking by my office and the phone is to my back, or I'm looking at the back side of the phone. So in this case, Avaya actually designed that just for that purpose, to have the phone where you can see the message waiting lights if you're not in your office all day. Underneath that, and we'll cover these, we call these soft keys. We'll cover those in just a little bit. So underneath this circle dial pad with the OK in the middle, I have three buttons called Contacts, Menu, and Call Log. So Contacts should be set up with all of the contacts that is on the system within my company. So no one knows phone numbers anymore. I don't know people's extension numbers. I just know their names. So as an example, if I want to call Josh Englert, I click Contacts, come on down to my keypad, I hit J, which is the 5 button, O, which is the 6 button, and as I'm doing that, it's giving me names that start with J first, and then J-O, it keeps reducing it down, and then I can go to S, which is the 7 button, and there it is, Josh Englert. Now, since it's already highlighted, I could simply pick up the receiver and it automatically starts calling Josh Englert. I'm not going to call Josh right now, so I didn't even have to hit OK. But if I go back to contacts, I do that same scenario again. There's Josh Englert. I can hit this soft key, now becomes whatever I'm doing. So those soft keys are really smart keys because it presents a series of features of whatever your options are for whatever you're doing. So example, if you're on a conference call, these soft key options right up here in the menu will become whatever your options are for a conference call. If you're on a regular phone call, they become options of things you can do, like hold or transfer and things like that, of what's going on. And what this does is it allows you to have a reduced amount of buttons and still have an executive set. So again, I can also hit OK, call, or simply pick up the receiver once I found the person I'm going to call. So much like a smartphone, mobile phone device, the 9620C VoIP telephone does the same thing. And I'm going to go back to my home screen by hitting the phone button. Next thing is menu. So if I go to the menu, this is more or less programming. Once I'm in the menu, I can scroll up or down to kind of toggle my way through it. Once I get to like options and settings, I can click OK, and I can see different call settings, screen and sound options. Let's go down to screen and sound options, and personalized ringing. Scroll down to that, and I want to try, right now I'm on classic 1. There's pattern 1, there's pattern 2, there's pattern 3, pattern 4, so on and so forth. And what this is for, I'll save it on 6, and I hit save, and then go back to my home screen. So those features under the menu, if you have two phones that are right next to each other and you can never tell whose is ringing, it's kind of nice to change the ring pattern for one of the phones to know, oh, that's my ring pattern, not Lisa's, or something of that nature. But menu, options and settings, and you can go in there. I'm not going to go through all that because that's really more or less during the setup. Our engineers primarily go into the settings. So I'm going to hit exit and I'm out of there. Call log is my next button under this circle dial pad. Call log is just like on a smart telephone or a mobile phone. It's basically showing me all of my missed calls, my outgoing calls, my inbound calls, and all calls. So right now, when I hit call log, by default, it comes up with missed. And over here to the right, you can't see it real well in the video, but there's a left and right arrow, which is signifying my circle dial pad. If I hit the right arrow on my circle dial pad, now this word just changed to incoming calls. I hit that right arrow again, it's outgoing calls. And I hit it again, it's all calls. And I hit it again, and it's back to missed calls. And it keeps cycling through the various ones. Here's the nice part about it. Here's missed calls as an example. And we have a policy here at Competitive Business Tools where if you come back from lunch and you check your voicemails and you see that you had 3 voice messages, you're required to look at your missed call log and see if anyone else called you during lunch that did not leave you a voicemail. And in this case, I have 1 call that did not leave me a voicemail. I can highlight it by scrolling down to it using my circle dial pad. And once it's highlighted, I simply pick up and it calls that person. And we have a script that says, hey, I noticed this is Lisa at Competitive Business Tools. I noticed you called me at, and my call log will actually tell me when they called, at 1:04 p.m. today. And my apologies, I wasn't available, but was there anything I can help you with? Yes, Lisa, there is. Actually, I'm glad you called back. How nice of you to do that. I am looking for a new phone system, and I was just calling around multiple vendors. Since I got your voicemail, I didn't want to leave you a message. Well, that caller may or may not have called back, but that could be lost revenue in your company. And if you have 20 employees and they're all calling back people that miss calls, even if you pick up 1 extra transaction a day from that practice and policy, that's a huge benefit to your company. But call logs are also very convenient for if you forgot to write down somebody's phone number. I think by using smartphones and mobile phones, call logs are more and more used for just that purpose. I missed a call from you. Half the time people don't even check voicemails. They just look at their missed call log and they call people back. So that was one of the 3 buttons right underneath the circle dial pad. Then you have your standard keypad, and then you have 4 buttons right underneath the keypad. You have speaker, that puts them on speakerphone. You have mute, which if I'm on speakerphone and I want to mute it for a second to tell somebody else something in the room and then pick up the caller again, I can do that. I have volume up and down, and volume up and down works for whatever device I'm on. So if I'm on speaker, it adjusts the volume of the speaker. If I'm on the handset, it adjusts the volume of the handset. So the volume's intuitive to whatever you're using. And the last button is the headset button, which is nice if you have an Avaya certified headset and your sales rep can supply you with a list of those. You don't have to have that little box that sits right next to your telephone that plugs into the headset, or you don't have to go like this with your handset when your headset's in and hit an on-off button on your headset. It simply knows if the headset's plugged into the back to hit this, and now your headset draws dial tone and you can dial out, you can answer phone calls, so on and so forth. So that's really kind of nice for headset users. Now I'm going to go ahead and zoom in, and we want to get primarily the display. There we go. All right, so the first thing, and you can see what happens on here. There's a couple of things. If I didn't use this phone, I think we have our timer set at 5 minutes. A screensaver comes up with our company logo. We can do that for your phones as well on the IP phones. The digital phones can't do it. Well, we can, but the screens aren't big enough to make the logo move around. And that's what you want so it doesn't burn into the image of the LCD screen. All right, so in this case, you can see the phone has my name on it, my extension number, has the time and date stamp. Yep, there goes the screensaver. And then you can see it kind of moves around a little bit. And on the digital phones, it doesn't do that, so we don't recommend putting it on. We can do it, but it would burn an image of your logo into the screen. Okay, so we hit the home button, and you can see I have A, B, and C. Those are what we call appearances. That means if I take a call on line 1, and I'll just go ahead and call myself. I'm using my cell phone right now. Call 303-531-6010. Call. Go ahead and answer. Okay, you can see the first call appearance is being used. Oops, excuse me. I'm going to come on over here to another telephone and go ahead and call my phone. And you can see the second call appearance now is being used. I can put this call on hold, and I can pick up that call appearance. And now, sorry, got reverb there, got the speakerphone. So now I have 2 calls going, and I can toggle using my circle dial pad in between either call, right? And I'm going to go ahead and put that call on hold. And now,
wonder how your company is doing as compared to your competition? Well, Competitive Business Tools can help you with that. We're now conducting free business comparisons of your company against
a speakerphone here in our conference room. So I'm going to go ahead and hang up on that one.
To schedule yours today.
Let's hit OK. And hang up. Hang up. There we go. And then I'll get back on my other call. So I can have up to 3 calls going at once. Not that most people do that, but there are some work environments where that, becomes a valid part of your business. So you do have to have 3 calls going. So I'm going to go ahead and hang up, and that call appearance will go back to idle mode, which means it's not in use, and A, B, and C are open. As a default, we set up generally 3 call appearances on phones. We can do more. If people need 4 or 5, just how many calls can you juggle at one time? As an example, stockbrokers, they'll keep 4 or 5 calls going at one time and put people on hold and do a bunch of 10-second conversations with 5 callers. All right, let me get right back to you. Hold on and hang with me for a minute. So that's call appearances. Then I'm going to scroll down, and I'm using my circle dial pad to do this, and I'm hitting the down arrow. And I have access main. Okay, what that is something where we've set it up. Again, these are all programmable for your work environment, but we have a receptionist here who answers our phone, and then we have backup receptionist if she doesn't answer. Well, what happens is, as a fail-safe, is if the main receptionist doesn't answer in 3 rings, the 2 backup receptionist phones start ringing. And if they don't answer in 3 additional rings, now a total of 6, it rings an overhead bell within our office. And every employee is instructed, if they hear that overhead bell, to scroll down to Access Main and click OK. And in this case, it's not ringing, so there's no one there. But I would be able to answer it. And I'd say, hi, Access Communications, or Competitive Business Tools by Access Communications. This is Jeff. How can I help you? And that caller was able to get service. So that's what Access Main is. The next one we've elected are Park buttons. And Park's nice because I put 2 parks, but I can do Park 1, 2, 3. If I answer the call and they say, hey, is Brian Thomas in? And I say, sure. Instead of just transferring to Brian Thomas, I got to figure out where he's at. He's somewhere within our office. I might do a page. I might physically go and look for him. And what I want to do with that caller is I want to park them. That way when I do find Brian, no matter where he's at, he can go down to the park buttons and pick up Park 1 or Park 2 and be connected with that caller from any telephone. Whereas if I put him on hold, it might be a privacy thing, and he can only pick him up from my telephone on hold, not his. So Park allows you to do what we call park and pickup, where you park a caller when they come in, and you can go to any other phone and pick them back up. Next button we have on here is call recording. Now, call recording can be set up two ways. By having a button on there that says call record, that means if I was talking to somebody and I go, you know what, I want to record this call, I would scroll down the call record, click on that call would start recording, and when I'd hang up, it would email me a copy of that phone call, not as text, but as a WAV file, an audio file attachment to the email. And I would now have a copy of that call recording. If you have enhanced call recording using Chronicle, then it would not need to be pressed. We would program calls to be recorded. Maybe you set it up where every single call in your office is recorded inbound and outbound. You could also set it up where calls are recorded for inbound only, outbound only, or a percentage of calls, 10, 30, 50%, 100% of the calls. But in this case, the call recording button is actually used for what we call ad hoc or manual call recording, where you only want to record a call when that user decides they want to record it. Okay? And I should give the disclaimer, in 12 states in the Union, predominantly on the East Coast, both parties have to know the call is being recorded. Within the other 38 states, only one party has to know it's being recorded, and generally that's you, right? So you don't have to disclose it. The next button that we programmed on here is Page All. When I click that, and I'll just do it here real quick. Someone called Jeff at 6010, Jeff 6010. That just did a page throughout my office. Everybody heard that. And there they are calling back in. You can see Steve Kendall is calling back in. I'm going to hit ignore. And other callers, if they were available, they would call back in as well. But you can see that by having a page all button is kind of nice, and the voice comes out on their speakerphone on the other end. Alright, next one. And if you notice, it always goes back to my home screen after I get done doing that feature. So I got Page All. Next one is twinning. That is, we actually have a video on that, but I'm going to show you in this video how to turn it on and off from your desk. So right now you notice it's on by denoting that little red light next to the word twinning is on. If I hit select, which is on my keys, I hit features. Whoop. I want to hit twinning is off. And on my soft keys I got the word on. I hit on and I hit save. Now twinning is on. If I just click OK, it turns it off. So to turn it off is much easier by scrolling down to twinning and hitting your OK button on the center of your round dial pad. And if I want to turn it on, I could hit OK. I have to hit on, which is a soft key, and I have to hit save. If you don't, a lot of people don't hit save. They just hit OK and move on. It won't turn it on, and you won't get that little red light. So red light is on, no red light is off. And again, mobile twinning has to be programmed first. That button just won't be there by default. That is per user. So as managers and owners of your companies, You may or may not want that on everybody's telephone. And it does require either a PRI T1 or SIP for phone lines. You cannot use it, twinning will not work with basic analog lines. Your next feature is call screening. This is very nice. This is where, if you ever remember the answering machine you'd have on your kitchen counter at home, and someone would call and leave you a message, and you can actually hear them leaving the message. And depending on the nature of the message and the urgency of it, you would decide if you wanted to pick it up and take that call, or if you wanted to let it continue on and you'll get back to them later and let them leave their voice message. So call screening is just that. And I'll show you again, it has to be programmed in, but once it's programmed in, it will show up here. I highlight it, I hit OK, and now that little red light's on. Now, if somebody calls me, and I'll call with my cell phone right now, if somebody calls me, I'll hear them leaving the message, and I can decide based on the nature of that message if I want to pick it up or not. So I will call myself from my cell phone. You'll actually hear my voicemail greeting, so you get to hear the whole thing all the way through. Oh, it won't let me go through because my phone is twinned. Let me turn off my mobile twinning. Scroll down here. The phone is smart enough to recognize. And there we go. And screening's on. Okay. So I turned off mobile twinning. The system's smart enough to recognize if I'm calling myself, it can't twin back to my cell phone. Alright, so now I'm calling. It's going to go 4 rings. Actually, I'll just send it to voicemail.
Hi, you reached Jeff Myers with Competitive Business Tools, formerly with My Biz by Access Communications. You should know this system did just try me on my cell phone as well as my desk phone. Please leave me a message after the tone, and I'll return your call at my first opportunity, or you may press 0 if you need immediate assistance. Someone will gladly assist you. Thank you and have a great day.
Hey Jeff, this is Jeff. I got an urgent matter. If you can give me a call back. Okay, and now I can come over here, and you see that answer on my soft key? I could pick up the phone right in the middle of them leaving a message, hit answer, and now we're connected, and I'd say, oh, hey Jeff, it's Jeff, talking to myself. I'll leave it connected here. I just walked back in and I heard you leaving the message and wanted to grab the call. And this allows business owners, let me go ahead and hang up. Business owners love this feature because it allows them to choose how to be productive. If one of your top customers is calling you and they're getting ready to place a large order and you want to take that call, but if one of your top customers is calling you for a non-urgent matter, maybe they want to set up a tea time to go play golf next week, and you're right in the middle of another very pressing matter that has to do with revenues coming into your company or not, you can say, you know what, they're just calling to set up a tea time for next weekend. I'll call them back here in about an hour when I get done working on this very important revenue generating matter. This allows you to have that type of control. It's not impersonable, it is business, and it allows you to figure out with intimate detail. And the difference being, if you just had caller ID, the only thing you would get without call screening is that your top customer is calling. You don't know the nature of it, and if you stop working on what you're working on, and it can have a financial impact to your company, only to take a call to set up a tea time. So that allows you to really decide what's important for your time of the day. Again, knowing you have to do more with less people. Screensaver comes back on. So I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to leave call screening off because I don't have anything pressing going on. So I just go down and highlight it. The red light's on. I hit OK, and now the red light's off. My next feature is send all calls. And again, it's off right now, so you can see there's no little red light. I click OK. Now the send all calls is on. Send all calls is also referred to as do not disturb. it sends all your calls to your coverage path. Most people's coverage path is their voicemail. However, it doesn't have to be. You could make send all calls or your coverage path be maybe your administrative assistant. It could be another group of phones that says, hey, if I'm not available, I don't want calls going to voicemail. If I can't answer it in, say, 4 rings or more or less, I want it to go to these other salespeople in the sales group, so these calls don't get stuck in a voicemail box. They get somebody live. And by turning on send all calls, my phone won't ring 4 times now. It will directly go to my coverage path. So if it's voicemail, it will go directly into my voicemail box. My phone won't ring. My phone won't hear pages. This means I'm in a meeting. I'm doing something that's very important. I don't want to be disturbed. And it allows me to be more productive. And then when I get done with my meeting, I have send all calls. I hit OK. And now that little red light is off. So it allows me to have better control of my time. Call forward. This is for people that don't use call 20. I generally don't forward calls anymore. The only time I'd probably forward calls is if I was on vacation and I have a backup person, and that backup person is kind of my coverage while I'm out on vacation. I might hit forward calls. I click OK, and it says enter the number. In this case, I'd hit 6020 Brian Thomas. And now anybody that's calling my extension number is going to go to Brian Thomas. And I just have to hit save, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to hit exit because I don't want to forward calls to Brian Thomas. And then when I come back from vacation, I can unforward them. And that's it. So those are your features. One of the ones that I did not cover, and it does come standard with all the systems, is service observing. And I'll just tell you a little bit about service observing. Service observing would be a programmable button where we scroll down to it and it would say service observing. And you'd click OK, and you're able to, it'll prompt you to enter in an extension number. And what it does is it allows you to listen in on that person's phone calls, obviously for training purposes. But maybe it's a new employee and they're reading from a script and you want to make sure they're offering your customers all the right things that they're supposed to be offering them when a customer calls in. Is there anything else I can help you with? Was their tone pleasant? Did they answer in 3 rings or less? Were they knowledgeable to the customer, or did they kind of fumble around a little bit? Service observing allows you to do a few things. Once you are service observing a phone call, I, on my soft keys, will be presented with 3 or 4 options. Option 1 is to whisper in, and I'd be able to hit whisper in, and I'd be able to whisper into that phone call where only my employee could hear me and say, hey, don't forget to mention the promo where we got 20% off all tires this month. Oh, and ma'am, I want to let you know that we have 20% off all tires this month. So whisper in when you're service observing. 2 is to barge in, which means now you can click the next button. Barge in will allow you to become part of that phone call. Hi, I'm Stacy's sales manager, Jeff, and I've been listening to this call, and I want to let you also know that we're going to go ahead and take care of you on that situation. It sounds like you're kind of frustrated with the service you've had, and I'm going to go ahead and credit that invoice back, and we'll send somebody back out to take care of your furnace, ma'am, no problem, right? So to barge in. And then the third option is to barge in and drop when you're service observing a call. Barge in and drop means maybe your new employee was getting a little disgruntled with your customer. You would actually click barge in and drop. You would be now connected with the customer, and the employee will be dropped off the phone call and disconnected. And you might say something like, hi, sorry about that. This is Jeff Myers. I'm the manager here. I've been service observing this phone call, and my employee's tone and language was totally inappropriate. They have dropped off. I have knocked them off this phone call. You and I are just now connected. Again, my apologies that happened. They will be dealt with accordingly. And rest assured we do appreciate your business and want to keep earning to strive that, and that's not our normal behaviors. So service observing with those 3 features is huge when it comes to holding employees accountable, training new employees, or just occasionally checking in to see how your employees are interfacing with your customers in live situations. Of course, call recording will allow you to do that on a very historical way to do that. But if you want live, real-time serving, can be programmed on you and your managers. Again, that's a feature that comes with, but it does have to be programmed in. We don't, obviously, for privacy reasons, put that on every single phone. So, as you can see, that was kind of the tour of the 9620C. The 9640 pretty much has the same thing. Excuse me. Has a little bit bigger display. Has a few more of the buttons that you don't have to scroll down to get to. They're actually hard-coded on there. They all come with full HD speakers built in. They all come in with an extra data port in the back to plug in your computer. So you only have to have one cable that you would connect to your wall jack, and then you can plug your computer to get on the internet if it's not Wi-Fi connected right into the back of the phone. So next we'll be covering some of the other sets, which are the 9608 and the 9508. One's IP and one's digital, and we'll talk about the differences on those sets as well. Thank you very much.